New breeze, universal, ENT.
Yo, shalom, everybody. It's your brother New Breed. Welcome to another broadcast. I see brothers and sisters rolling in pretty quick. Rodeo in the building. I am Free Dove in the house. Loyalty. Freddie Fields, what's up? Life with Joan. Sean T, what's good? I want to talk about gang stalking. The rabbit hole goes deep. Of course, I want to talk about solutions as well for targeted individuals, people who have been isolated from society, people dealing with this program where certain individuals come together collectively and begin to pretty much stalk one person. And it's usually because of social, political, or religious differences. And this is typically why this happens. And man, it's important to talk about this because, you know, a lot of people don't want to believe this stuff is real. But I can assure you it's very real. And no matter how many surveillance agencies emerge, you know, people still seem to ignore what's really going on and how people are losing freedom every day. I mean, you got so many agencies. I mean, surveillance jobs are like done on snag a job. You understand? There's so many of these things out here that they don't even pay that much anymore. I mean, there are some of these surveillance agencies hiring people for 40K a year, you know, to take pictures of individuals, uh, you know, conduct citizens watch. And it's amazing how they just do it right in the open, but that's what goes on. And then you have the more prominent ones like COINTELPRO, you got Silent Dagger, you got all the ones that you know. And, you know, a lot of people don't know why these things exist. Are they really countering terrorism? Is that what it's really about? I have this interview here from a former FBI agent who explains the whole terrorist watch list and how they even cultivate these lists. Because you would be surprised what will label you a terrorist these days, and you would be surprised what type of people are placed on these type of lists. And you know, we really got to get into it, man. Um, I mean, and when I talk about gang stalking, man, I mean, this thing is highly sophisticated. I mean, everything that you think you know, you have no idea. I mean, the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole gang stalking program. And I'm talking about pretty much all of the departments within the United States, such as, you mean, the Diplomatic Security Service, DDS, DSS, you know, Department of Justice, the Marshal Services, Department of Defense, even the U.S. Treasury, Veterans Affairs, Department of Interior. I would even go as far as to say, ladies and gentlemen, even the Postal Service be in on this stuff, bro. Even the Postal Service, because that's another way of collecting data and how they know how to send certain advertisements to certain homes, bro. Like, so it's a part of our society. It's legit in the fiber of our society. But I don't like make these videos so people can be paranoid. Like, I don't bring this out so you can be all fearful and whatnot. It actually should make you cleave closer to the creator, knowing that these people haven't taken you out because there's spiritual laws in place. But I'm gonna just tell y'all like this, man. You cannot just be a righteous person in society and know what's going on, be socially aware, and just live your life without somebody fucking with you. It's just not happening. You're gonna get messed with. You're gonna get bothered. They're not gonna let the chosen and the righteous just live happily ever after without somebody irritating them, bothering them, or what have you. It's just that's not how society works, bro. You living in a devil's world. You know, you get your peace when you gone. You get your peace in the afterlife. That's how it works for us. Um, because you were never supposed to learn the things you learned. And the fact that you can be influential makes you a threat. Everybody's supposed to be walking dead. Nobody's supposed to know anything. So it's like, it's spiritual dynamics to gang stalking as well. There's a lot of people who are just straight up demon possessed, and the spirits that control them basically have them moving in uniform in syncrecy to target you because it's spiritual, man. Y'all light shines, man. You have a very bright light, and it really bothers a lot of people. And it's interesting stuff. But man, I got a couple videos that I wanted to review, man. This is just one of a few. And we got to talk about this, man. We got to talk about how deep the rabbit hole goes, and then we can talk about solutions, but let's get into it.
What exactly can the government do to him, to any of us, whether we're on the watch list or not? As a journalist, my first hunch is to go straight to the source. Michael German is a former FBI agent who has experience with the terrorism watch list.
What is the internal designation given to people who are on that watch list?
Known or suspected terrorist.
Do you need to be a known or suspected terrorist to be given that designation?
No, you do not. There's plenty of evidence that people who were put on these lists were investigated for no reasons.
For no reason. I can assure you there's a reason. This FBI or former FBI agent, he may not know the exact reasons, but I'm going to tell you because the Most High gave me the eyes to see. It's not for no reason. It's typically done because of your bloodline. When you're born, they draw your blood for a reason. There's a royal DNA. It's also done via social media as well. There's multiple reasons. Let's just put it out here. There's various reasons why you can be placed on this list. But a lot of us, as soon as we were born, we were placed on certain lists. Some of the ways we answer questions in high school, in elementary school, junior high school, there was a dossier on your life based on how you performed in certain tests, how you behaved in class. Let me tell you something. Through the 12 grades of learning, a lot of things were established, So for a great deal of us, we were placed on these lists for various reasons. Somebody says tarot readings on the list. What are you talking about? Let me get you out of here. I'm not tolerating anybody talking stupid. It's too late. It's too late for that. So let me block you. Anyway, but there's various reasons, but this, a lot of times it's been happening since you all were young. Like you just didn't piece the puzzle together until you were at the age of awareness and started to really figure out what was going on. Anyway, let's continue.
You're building this expanding pool of suspects based on little or no real evidence.
Based on little or no real evidence. So they're just building a pool of suspects, based on just how people see things. It's almost like a database using certain analytics that will reserve you for this list. You understand? And that's crazy. So you never know who is on a terrorist watch list. I can assure you that A lot of religious leaders are on the list. I'm gonna just put that out there off the break. A lot of religious leaders are on the list, not because they are terrorists, not at all. They're on the list because they have the power to influence others. Some of the names on the list would shock you, brothers and sisters. You wouldn't believe it because you know these people are not a threat. You know these people are not trying to blow up buildings or harm anybody. But it would shock you if you got to see who was on these lists. You understand? And some of it is based on just something you posted that they can deem anti-government. You know how many people post anti-government rhetoric every single day, ladies and gentlemen? Think about it. Our president is a bumbling fool. He walks around like Weekend at Bernie's, like an idiot. Do you know how many people get online and talk about how Joe Biden is? That's anti-government, ladies and gentlemen, because that's your president. So the list is massive. So it doesn't mean everybody on the list is being surveilled all at once. But what it does mean is they're throwing together this list, and what they want to do is make sure all of society is being pretty much surveilled. And if you're a quote unquote melanated person, you got to understand that your whole life has been about gang stalking. All of our lives have. Let me break it down this way. The experiments that they've conducted on our neighborhoods. I don't care if it was Tuskegee, the things they spray in the air, the things they put in the food, is all experiments, ladies and gentlemen. The whole Black community has been gang stalked. So let's just put that out there. The whole gang stalking is literally a lifestyle. It is and it's like it's a matrix, bruh. It's literally a way they've treated us since we've been here. We've been under their observation. We've been being experimented on. Exactly. Like what Jones says, like who cloned Tyrone? Exactly. That's one big gang stalking program. So like, it's just really the reality of it. But let's continue.
What are the most extreme things that can happen to you if you end up in that system?
There's so little transparency that we don't know all the ways that the watch list might be used. So from a deprivation of rights standpoint, there's a lot you could lose.
Let's say
They don't know how the list is being used. They don't know what's happened to the people that's being added to those lists.
I'm an American citizen. I get taken into secondary screening. Surely I have Fourth Amendment protections, right?
A lot of us on the list, if you're on the list, you go through a lot of secondary screening. This is why you're not able to get certain things. Certain doors of opportunity get closed because, everybody else who's not on that list get screened and everything is dealt with appropriately based on certain details. But when it comes to people who are on the list, oh no, you got to go through more rigorous challenges to get certain things done. That's just how it works. Yeah, it's sort of like loans, Let's continue.
Not at the border. Anything coming across the border could be contraband, and therefore the government has a right to search it without a warrant.
The agents that take me to secondary screening have the authority to read the contents of my emails or my text messages.
And not just read them, but put them in a database for other agents across the intelligence community.
So they have the ability to read your text messages, send them through the intelligence community. Why? Because you was put on the list. You was put on the list, and this is the reason why a lot of our phones are hacked. A lot of people's phones are hacked. And it's because, due to a series of I would call it, due to a series of data, they basically said, hey, this person is pretty much a terrorist based on what they're saying, based what they post online, how they move. They don't believe the lies. They don't believe the programming. This person is a threat to our way of life. This person is a threat to society, or a potential threat. Even if they're not looking at you like a threat, all it takes is for them to say, hey, this is a potential threat to society. So, we can read their emails, we can hack their phones, we can steal identity, we can mess with their credit, we can do all kind of things. Or we can send people to watch them, take pictures of them. We can exercise counterintelligence on that individual based on a few attributes. They may have influence. They may be very highly intelligent people. A lot of people who are highly intelligent, intellects, they make the list. They make the list. And I'm not telling you this so you can be fearful. This is just the truth. Hey, listen, I'm on social media. I'm speaking about these things, so I already know what time it is because I have the Most High protecting me. Yep, somebody says all the phones have some type of additional software. They absolutely do. Life with Jones says a high-end job hired paying 45 hourly, fully remote. Never has that happen. Right. Right. Real talk.
Need to read them. All of that information can be collected when you cross a border.
So I think a lot of people are not aware of this. What you're saying then is that at least some of our constitutional protections don't exist when we're in a border crossing or an airport coming back from abroad.
Right. You might.
I can tell you this now. Every time I travel out of the country, I have to go through secondary screening every single time, ladies and gentlemen. Every single time. Except for the last time, ironically enough. I can't say every single time. The only reason last time I didn't get stopped is because I had somebody with me. Literally. When I travel alone, it goes down. If it's somebody with me, they won't do it. It's like they don't want nobody to witness the secondary screening. But literally, every time other than the last time when I went to Africa, that's the first time I left the country where I didn't get stopped. Typically, they'll stop me and say for various reasons. They say, we'll have you listed for food. I'm like, come on, man. They make up something. Oh, you were just on a random list. You was on a random list to pull you off and talk to you, whatever the case is. I mean, seriously, every time. So I already know about this secondary screening, man. It is what it is. It's just something that I got to go through. The last time it happened, the guy that was at the gate was like, are you by yourself? I was like, no, these two guys are with me right here. He was like, you know what? You can go ahead through. You can go ahead through. So it's like he looked at his computer and was like, we ain't gonna do it. But it's crazy, man.
Try going to the airport tomorrow and seeing how you do.
Now, I'm gonna share another video with y'all. We got to talk about this government surveillance, right? Government surveillance, security or liberty.
In the Bush administration, working at the Department of Homeland Security, and it happened to me. So it can happen to you.
There are two broad categories of government surveillance. The first category relates to criminal surveillance, and that's the mechanism by which federal prosecutors obtain authority from courts to operate a wiretap on a telephone line or to surveil an email account. And that's all related to having probable cause to believe that that individual is engaged in criminal activity.
Right. And let me put it out there like this. Criminals, the government knows who criminals are. The government knows all the criminals. The government lets criminals get away with being criminals. The government know who's smoking weed, who's selling dope, who's selling coke, who's snorting coke. They know all of this already. They just don't bother certain people. Now, one thing they really hate is somebody to outsmart them. Let's say there's a criminal who, got away with doing a certain crime or whatever, or, they just outsmarted the judicial system altogether. Those people typically are placed on these lists as well, because they're trying to catch them. Pretty much is a catch-22. Once you embarrass these people, they're watching. Sort of like it will remind you of the O.J. Simpson situation with Nicole. They think he killed her. He got away with it, outsmarted the courts, but they got him for something else. So this is what happens. They'll try to get you for something. Anyway, let's continue.
There's a second category of surveillance that relates to the collection of foreign intelligence. And that is much more of a national security tool. It's governed by what's known as the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which has been amended many times. That's another category of surveillance in which agents of foreign powers or foreign powers are surveilled to collect foreign intelligence information for use by the U.S. government.
Almost everything we do is sort of now potentially surveillable, which I think is, in a sense, the most important structural change in society. It used to be that if you read a book, if you had a conversation, made a visit to a friend, these were all facts about your life that would not leave a permanent record.
So they can see all of that was going on. If you're reading a book, you go visit a friend, so on and so forth. But they don't place that into their permanent records. Let's continue.
Macro change is a shift toward, in a sense, everything being privately surveilled.
So this is what they're on now, everything being privately surveilled. And they're calling this a macro change. And I'm going to tell you how they're doing it. It's the cell phones. The macro change, the macro change, the shift that they were trying to make is the cell phones. It's exactly what it is. Like, that's the biggest gang stalker you have is your phone. They know everything you do. You don't get away with nothing. Somebody's watching you. So this is why you need to be careful, even what you're doing online. It's a cesspool, y'all. It's a cesspool. But that's the constant personal surveillance they was looking for. And I'm going to say this as well. Well, we'll get there. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here we go.
And therefore, ready for government acquisition.
I think that the public
Leaks that revealed the massive scale of U.S. surveillance has unmasked it himself.
that spell out a secret surveillance program.
Edward Snowden.
My name is Faisal Gill. I'm an attorney. So when Glenn Greenwald called me, I was in private practice. My office was in D.C., but at that time, I was living in Burlington, Vermont. He wanted to schedule a meeting to meet, and I was at that time just trying to build up my practice.
Fair use. Federal law allows citizens to redistribute portions of copywritten material for parody, teaching, and criticism.
Knew of Glenn Greenwald because I had read the newspaper articles. And
let me fast forward some because I want to get more into details about this other portion here. All right, here we go.
Surveillance authority on a U.S. person because of First Amendment activity. So in other words, if I routinely meet with known terrorism suspects or known intelligence of officials of a foreign country. My meeting with them alone is not sufficient to get authority, because that's First Amendment association activity. But there's got to be other evidence that the FBI can present to the court that demonstrates why it's appropriate to surveil me.
None of those happen to me. I don't deal with any foreign governments. I don't associate with any known terrorists. In my mind, I'm thinking, what am I doing? What have I done that would warrant this level of scrutiny?
So this man right here, he clearly is from the quote unquote Middle East, and he's been placed on the list. Now I'm not sure how he was made aware of him being on the list, but he found out. But imagine how many people don't have the resources or have the acumen to even know if you placed on one of these lists and you're being spied on. It ain't like the U.S. government are going to tell you, hey, you met certain requirements to be placed on the list, and now, we got people following you. We got these little weirdos running around following you through grocery stores and taking pictures and, following you on the freeway and, creating street theater is something else they do. This is how I know it's all experimental. And that's another thing. Like, the rabbit hole is deep, y'all. It is very experimental. And it's like, personally, man, I've been experiencing a lot of street theater as of late. And that's when, neighbors basically choreograph their moves. They're always there. It's very irritating. It's very irritating because you can move from one place to the next and, you have no neighbors, and they will strategically place you in a certain unit. I don't know how many of you chosen ones, targeted individuals, have moved somewhere and you had issues with the unit that you were initially supposed to move in. But that tends to happen to targeted individuals a lot. And they want to move you. They're fixated in moving you in a certain unit. There's a reason for that. And that's the reason why, man, you got to be able to control your environment. And that's why the only solution for gang stalking is community, where you can actually control your environment, control your neighbors, who you want around you. Because these people strategically place people around you. When I moved into this area here, man, I had no neighbors. Neighbors will move in and out. And that's something else that happens too. Like, a neighbor will move in, neighbor move out. It's literally like choreographed. I see Broken Matrix in the building. What's going on, family? Salute. But that's how it be, man. And that's why I say the only solution for it really is community. Because, if people are like-minded coming together on their own land without the feds involved, because you got people, operating in leadership that can be trusted, and they solid, then it is what it is. You're in a situation where you know who your neighbors are. Because it truly be like the Truman Show. And it's all to irritate you. They do irritating, weird stuff, bro. They watch you. They do anything to pretty much take your peace away. You know what I'm saying? Life with Jones says they was watching me like a hawk, right? It's the weirdest thing in the world. And if you have a vehicle, they'll mess with your vehicle. See, it's an experiment. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. For melanated people, our whole lives has been, not even just melanated people who grew up, and I would say, more like poverty, because there's no middle class no more. Either you poor or you rich. People who are not super rich, people who grow up in certain communities, literally our whole existence has been about being experimented on. And to be quite frank with you, I don't think it's just humans doing the experimentation. I think they're answering to something way more ominous than what you would ever suspect. I think they answering to some type of alien species, bro. I don't want to go over y'all head, but for real, it's like the rabbit hole of gang stalking is deep. They're answering to like malevolent forces. They answering to spirits, fallen angels, demons. And a lot of these people have spirit guides as well, man, to figure out who to watch. It's very unethical. And when people are, radiating at a certain frequency, they got spirit guides, witches, warlocks, all of this stuff, man. Ain't nothing new under the sun. But let me continue. I don't mean to be long-winded. Let me try to get through this video. Let's go.
Being spied on, and I've heard people talk about it in my case. Well, what are you worried about if you're not doing anything wrong? So what? They surveilled you. They found nothing. But so what? And I sit there and go, that's not the criteria of our justice system. If that's the case, throw out the Fourth Amendment. There, you cannot have unreasonable searches.
I think given
Yeah, but see, they spied on him and they figured out he wasn't doing anything, right? Now, anytime you dealing with people who have absolute power, y'all know what they say, absolute power corrupts. So if you got these little weirdos who more than likely got bullied in school, more than likely was weak, and now you giving these people power to watch, to surveil, you don't think there's going to be private organizations and private agencies that are going to get power drunk and start mutilating and using their authority to torture, hurt, and harm the people that they're watching and run away with it? And even though they found nothing, they're literally still watching that person. A person who is totally unsuspected. And here's the real messed up part about it all. Here's the real messed up part about it. I got you, Maximilian. You really cannot tell nobody about this. If this is happening to you, who you gonna tell? Who you gonna tell? You know how crazy this sounds, we talking about this, but you're seeing FBI agents. You know the programs, you know the names of these things. They exist. There's documents on it. But you can't tell nobody. Because they're gonna say you're a conspiracy theorist, or they're gonna call you paranoid, right? So people who really can understand what's being said, we got to be, operating in unity and figuring out ways to survive in peace. It ain't even about, quote unquote, beating the program. It's not about that. As long as this country is standing, which probably won't be long the way things going, BRICS is taking over. They got over 20 countries that's in BRICS right now. 20 damn countries. The American dollar is done. But anyway, as long as this place is standing, they're going to be doing it. It ain't about beating the program. It's about finding a place of rest. That's really what it's all about. It's all about getting to a place where they can't harm you. The program going to move on regardless. It's going to move on regardless. But as long as you off the map, you off the radar, it is what it is. And you surrounded by people who have a like mind, you can enjoy your life. Somebody said BRICS got 40 countries, Bree. Wow. I thought it was 20. That's crazy. Anyway, let's continue.
Given the very robust oversight we have both internally at the FBI and the DOJ, the oversight we have from 4 committees on the Hill, the oversight you have from the PCLOB, there's a significant amount of scrutiny.
The NSA pretty much getting everybody on computers who've posted anything that they deem anti-government or anti-establishment.
Don't worry about the intentions or the goodwill of the men and women that run these processes. And to the extent that they're making mistakes, there's a robust system that allows for the detection and correction of those mistakes.
Security versus freedom. This is deep right here.
Important thing to remember is what happened to me was not just me. NSA was surveilling about 100 prominent Muslims in the United States.
So they were surveilling 100 prominent Muslims within the states. What you think they doing to Israelites? What you think they doing to even some new agers to a degree, especially if they got anti what you would call if they spewing any type of anti-Jewish rhetoric or anything like that, they on the list too. You understand? I'm telling you, they really into people who have social, political, or religious differences, and people who are intellects. I mean, this is who they watching.
So, and none of us are charged. And that's a very important fact right there. If we're being surveilled, none of us are charged. Forget about even being indicted or forget about even being convicted.
You see a pattern of justifications for surveillance being offered that make extraordinary.
Hey, Larry Mosley, welcome to the club, brother. A lot of brothers and sisters who are set apart feel that exact same way, feeling like you being watched as you come and go, leaving and coming back to your home and things don't seem the same no more. I don't know if y'all have experienced that. You know, you may be a person who live alone and you get back to your home and something is out of place. Something has been moved. Particularly when you travel for longer than you normally travel. And then who you gonna tell about that? You come home and you know that it was something there that you had and it's no longer there. I mean, who you gonna tell that to? You're gonna sound insane, right? I'm just want to tell y'all, I don't believe y'all insane at all. I believe you. I believe you. And the Most High knows what you're going through. The Most High knows what you're going through, straight up. And you know, you got to understand, particularly within these apartment complexes and townhouses and these tight-knit communities, you know, there's a lot of things that happen that just ain't right. I mean, you got to understand, they are very aware of everybody. Let me put it this way. Projects, right? What do you think the projects was? An experiment. What is the word project? A project. It's an experiment, a test. So our whole society is developed off of projects. Every community, every neighborhood has a spirit over it. Taking little stuff, right? Every neighborhood has an organization to it. Every neighborhood has a census, and every neighborhood knows who's in its neighborhood. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. So don't feel weird, man. You just live in a demonic, satanic, evil world. It's not you, it's the world you living in. Because like I said before, righteous people and people who are trying to strive to do better are not meant to just live happy. If that's the case, if we were just, and I'm not saying, let me rephrase that. We are meant to be happy, but we're not meant to live undisturbed. We're not meant to be comfortable. Somebody said, let me get Randy Hansen out here. Let me get you out of here. Yeah, you already know there's going to be perps that's coming. You already know the agents are in the house. You know what the scriptures say. As soon as the truth is being revealed, soon after folly comes. That's a spirit. Soon as there's truth being brung out, the demons and devils, they have to come too, y'all. They're always present. They're always watching. But here, let me put this out here. The program is more spiritual than you can imagine too, because here's the thing. In this day and age, the Most High has given us ways to maneuver and sustain. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's all biblical, man. But let's get to it.
Claims of necessity, extraordinary claims about the value of some more intrusive or very broad-based surveillance. And then much more quietly years later, it turns out that those claims are just not true. when the NSA was sort of caught doing bulk telephone record surveillance, claims were made about the thousands or tens of thousands of lives that had been saved by this. And then later it turned out really literally no useful intelligence came out of that.
The thing that can happen.
So, right, let me get this. They were doing bulk, pardon me, they were doing bulk NSA wire phone taps, and nothing came out of it. Nothing came out of it. Why? What were they doing? What was the government doing just tapping all of these phones in bulks? I'm talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of phones just being tapped. What were they listening for? What were they doing? They were experimenting. They were gathering intel. They were trying to figure things out. What the mass majority of society is talking about. Gang stalking is an experiment, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it is. They were exactly, low gang, they were just studying everybody. As many people as they can were being studied. That's all it is. Exactly, Gina, man. Y'all some intelligent people up in here, finding the resistance, finding out who and what regions and what locations were rebelling, who's not buying into certain impositions that they roll out, who's not buying into certain propaganda that they roll out. Listen, gang stalking is all about gathering intel. They really not trying to like take you out. They're not really trying to I mean, of course they use EMF, radio frequencies to torture victims and cause problems, and because that's part of the experiment too, to see what the body can tolerate and things of that nature. And then you just have some megamaniacal psychopaths out there who and we talking about private agencies do this as well. But it's really to exactly learn our strengths and learn our weaknesses. They're not just, because if they were just out to destroy you, they would just do it. It's all about experimentation. They're testing on us. But one thing about it, when we got the creator, there's not a test that we can't beat. And I'm telling you, bro, there's not a test that we can't beat. We being tried like gold through the furnace. And then they're gonna learn just how powerful the Most High's people are. Yeah, Empress, you're right. Data collection is a big money maker. Facts.
And it's either you target someone that shouldn't have been targeted, you're overly broad in your targeting of them. You collect information that is beyond the bounds of that's unrelated to foreign intelligence. And the typical ways that you correct for that is you destroy the information.
Wow.
So it may be that if you're legitimately up on a target, you're legitimately surveilling someone, and you collect information that is not related to foreign intelligence. There are things called minimization procedures.
So they just destroy the evidence. If they watching you, in the bathroom taking a ish, or you taking a bath or something, or if you just, doing your thing with your girl, and they watching you through the TV monitor or whatever, all I gotta do is just destroy it. And they call it, what do they call it? Hold on, what does our fine government call it? Hold on, let's go.
Information that is not related to foreign intelligence. There are things called minimization procedures.
Minimization procedures. Yeah, so, we can put all the demons we want behind the scenes, watching and clocking and stalking people. And, if they don't find nothing, hey, we just going to go ahead and scrap it.
Which means the recordings of those phone calls or that email information or whatever it may be, it's destroyed.
So it's just important to recognize that there is a persistent pattern in debates about surveillance. Very dramatic claims about security benefits being made for programs that turn out to have little or no benefit. So the claim that we're doing this in order to protect against terrorism, in order to safeguard national security, should not be taken to mean it actually does anything.
Wow. So the claim that your U.S. government, and this is according to former FBI agents, this is according to actual current CIA counterintelligence agencies, they're saying that that it's a total bogus claim that they're watching people for some type of counter-terrorist watch. That's just bogus. It's all bogus. They're telling you it's bogus. Let me see. Let's get bruh out of here. This is my thing. This is what I want to know. It's like, do you think I'm going to argue with you? Do you really think I'm going to argue with you? Only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get blocked. It's like a waste of time. Do you ever hear me arguing with people? I send you into the shadow realm. I banish you into the darkness. And that's it. I just don't get it why you even do it. And my thing is this, is like, if you don't believe nothing you're hearing here, why are you here? If you think I'm just a bumbling fool just out here talking, and if you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, why are you watching me? What's the point? What is the purpose of watching me? If you don't believe what I'm talking about, if this is not something you can understand or comprehend, keep it moving. Let's go.
I think one of the things that we need to be mindful of is that as we get farther and farther away from the events of 9/11, we could get lulled into the assumption that we don't need these surveillance authorities anymore, or they're not meaningful to our protection and our safety, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. And so I think as we debate these issues, it's really important for us to keep in mind exactly the kind of intelligence and information they provide the government, so it can take steps to prevent those kinds of
things. Haven't been the same ever since the Patriot Act. That's when things really went downhill. Real talk. Let me see here. Let me pull this up. All right, let's go.
horrific events. And also to keep in mind that the government is constantly thinking about how does it execute these authorities while still maintaining compliance and adherence to Fourth Amendment civil liberties rights and all the other laws and regulations.
There is no more civil liberties in the United States. They want everybody in the world to comply to the agenda. They want everybody to comply. They want us all to agree with the letter coalition. They want us all to agree with getting sharp things pointed at us. They want us all to agree to our own detriment. And anybody who resists is some kind of threat. Anybody who speaks outside of the status quo is basically labeled an outsider. And it's going to become easier in the near future to really execute their separatism once the mark of the beast rolls out. Because then you're going to see a clear-cut difference between us and them. The people who really ain't standing for it and the people who just be talking, right? But anyway, let's go.
With which I must comply.
When you're being presented by a fax from law enforcement and they're putting together affidavits, and then you have a U.S. attorney basically really advocating, and U.S. attorneys are very smart and they're skilled in advocating. If you're a jurist, you're being told, okay, look, I got 3-4 law enforcement agencies telling me that this person might be committing the next big terrorist act.
And somebody just said something real prevalent. Gladiator says, if you don't get the thing, you're a threat. Exactly. This society showed you how they was going to move when people was getting laid off their jobs. It showed you exactly how, how it was going to be. Blossom, one thing I don't do on my chat is I don't know the brother or sister you're shouting out, but we don't shout out people in my chat who are not part of my network. If you don't hear me shouting them out, I don't really do that on my chat because I have a network of people that I build with here on YouTube, and those are the only people I want shouted out, because I've learned a while ago that I can't shout people out on this channel I don't know, and I don't want anybody advertised on this channel I don't know, because if people go over there and follow them and you got it from this platform and they're doing something wrong, you know, we're responsible for that. So if it's people I shout out, I don't mind that. But if it's somebody I don't even know, don't do that, please. All right. Appreciate it. Respect.
Could lead to, you know, deaths of hundreds, if not thousands of Americans. On the other side, all I got to do is just give them this warrant and they'll figure out whether this person is doing anything bad. And if that person is doing anything bad, they can stop them. What would you do? I mean, if I put myself in that situation, I don't know if I wouldn't grant the FISA warrant.
The FISA court has the ability to order the government to cut it out if they think the government is doing something wrong. But a pattern we've seen in recent years is what they call compliance incidents, cases where the government is operating a surveillance program in a way that is not consistent with what the court ordered them to do. And very often you'll see a ruling.
You hear I say it's not consistent with the court wanted them to do when it comes to surveillance certain people. That's because a lot of these agencies have went rogue. They're nothing but thugs, man. They're nothing but flawed people with ultimate power. There's a lot of corruption in our government. So there's inconsistencies. So if, let's say, somebody's placed on one of these lists and a court order says you wiretap that person, there's no consistency with what they actually do. The agency can do whatever the hell they want to do. So you didn't just did the court order to watch and surveil that person. Stroke of a pen, paperwork, they out there, boots to the ground, they watching a brother from old block because they may think that he's selling drugs, right? They're watching a brother from old block. All right. Now, since the agency is no consistency with the court order, then, you know, hey, it went from watching him, boots to the ground, taking pictures of the suspect. Now they vandalizing property. Now they planting bugs in the man house. Now they taking the smoke detectors and putting cameras in the man house. Why? Because these agencies are pretty much private. It's easy for them to get court orders. Listen, judges be getting paid off. You know, they could do what they want, even if they got caught doing something to a victim. People get paid off, bro, to make paperwork disappear. They just told you that previously. They can shred the paperwork. They call it minimalization priority. They can just get rid of it. So these people are running around with all this power, basically messing with people. It's crazy. And they telling you. Rabbit hole goes deep.
Where this is finally reported to the court after 3 or 5 or more years, where it'll say, well, okay, for this very long period of time, we have been operating contrary to what the court ordered or what the law requires.
We've been operating contrary to the court order or what the law requires.
Impacting often, many thousands or millions of communications.
Thousands and millions of communications in individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we got to stop there for a minute. If you question if gang stalking is real or fake, you got to be an idiot at this point. Many thousands of millions of people are being affected by gang stalking. Many thousands or millions. Why? Because these lists are so broad, and the court orders in these private sectors who are supposed to execute wiretap surveillance or what have you have pretty much went rogue, and they can do what they want, and it's affecting millions of lives. Millions of lives. But you can't tell friends, family, colleagues, and associates this. because they're going to say, you've lost your mind. Although our people always been in the projects, you get it? We always been experimented on. They've always, you think that, let me explain something. You think the government just stopped doing experiments on people in the hood? Do you think they just stopped? Or did they change the game up? They just experiment on us differently now. The experiments they do now is things like intimidation tactics. They watch you, irritate you, do street theater, knock on your door and run. I mean, put bodily fluids around your property. They'll send the person to synchronize with you, walk a dog. Right when you come outside, they come outside. They constantly look out their window at you when you're getting in your vehicle. You have the overwhelming feeling like you being watched as you come and go. Listen, it's just a different experiment now. That's all, to see how you're going to react. Right, Rashad Williams? Crazy equals articulate thinker. Because you're not supposed to see these things. And they hire people, they incentivize individuals. Some people don't have to pay bills. You understand? They give them townhouses and homes and all these things just to be watching you. And it could be people close to you. There's some people out there you wondering how they living. They got a whole nice little condo, little townhouse. They don't even work a job. They're doing something for that money. They're doing something strange for that money. I have a video up that I reacted to I think it was like last year, and it was called Confessions of a Former Gang Stalker. And I'm telling you, these people get free health care. These people get free vehicles. These people get their bills paid, all to watch you. And they send honey traps at certain brothers. Y'all gotta understand, this world is a matrix, y'all. Let me see. Natalie says, don't forget them postal workers constantly ringing your bell for packages that don't require signing. Right. And you got to be careful with them. Real talk. Yeah, they work for their father, Satan, the devil. Sometimes they even hire people who may be on drugs that's just out there in the streets. They'll hire them, throw them a few dollars just to do something. I'm telling you. All right, let's go.
And individuals. The inspectors general are there to, among other things, ensure the agencies are complying with the law. They can't be everywhere within an agency like NSA with tens of thousands of employees, with many, many, many different code word classified, extremely complex surveillance programs.
Our system is built on the adversarial system, right? You have a prosecutor, you have a defense attorney, and both are basically advocating their positions to a judge. In this system, there is no other side. It's just one side advocating, here's all the stuff. So those 2 points are very, very big in my opinion. I think are lacking here.
Right. That was prevalent right there. We got to go back and listen to what they just said here. That was deep. They make their own rules and operate in secret.
Our system is built on the adversarial system, right? You have a prosecutor, you have a defense attorney, and both are basically advocating their positions to a judge. In this system, there is no other side. It's just one side advocating, here's all the stuff. So those 2 points are very, very big in my opinion. I think are lacking here.
Checks and balances.
The most important thing we can do at a structural level is resist the growing demands for bans on strong encryption. For a lot of sometimes good reasons, law enforcement would love to be able to guarantee that they can read anyone's communications if they get a warrant, that nobody can.
Let me get this dude out of here. Oh man, let me get this dude out of here. I gotta start handing out some wrenches. Let me lay out the rules here. Let's ban this person. Let me break this down. This is what you're not gonna do in my chat. You're not gonna use foul language. You're not gonna use vulgarities. You're not gonna be disrespectful. You're not gonna try to argue with the host. You're not gonna disrespect anybody in the chat who's just minding their business. You're not going to antagonize. You're not gonna do that. Listen, you're on a grown man's chat. All right? It's grown men and grown women with lives, responsibilities, and we're very spiritual people. You're not going to come over here because this is the smaller channel and think that it's going to be a damn shit show. You're going to get blocked. All right? Let me make that clear. I'm going to be handing out some wrenches. I see a lot of pretty faces I want to hand wrenches to, because women, they be moderating. These women going to get you up out of there. So after this stream, I'm going to be handing out some wrenches because it's needed. Anyway, let's continue.
Render their data unreadable to the government.
Well, I think there's a healthy skepticism over government surveillance. I don't think anyone wants to live in a police state. You know, we know what life was like under the Stasi in East Germany, and that was not a happy life for those people living in East Germany. And so I think there's a healthy skepticism of it. And I think
now you notice how they talking about East Germany right now, right? Because this is one of the central hubs for where some of these projects started. You know, this is how it began. In Nazi Germany, a lot of these experiments were being rolled out. Real talk.
that's why there's such scrutiny of it. So I think people understand it's necessary and it's needed, but it's got to be tailored and appropriate for the threat we're facing.
But if you are concerned about the shift from traditional particularized individual surveillance to potential population scale surveillance, kind of automated monitoring of the population as a whole, then I think it's essential to essentially create technical barriers to that kind of data collection. Because if the architecture makes it possible, it seems almost inevitable that that will happen.
I think that's how some people like to frame it. So they like to create a binary sort of analysis where you either have security or you have civil liberty. I don't agree with that.
We have no civil liberty. And this is not being done in the name of security. This is being done in the name of control. That's what it's being done for. Yeah, somebody says it's like Dracula watching from the shadows. Yeah, you see how many bots have assembled themselves over here with this particular broadcast? There's a reason for that. They send their bots. They send in the gang stalkers. They send in the perps. Why? Because we talking them up. Somebody say, you was just cussing though, Breed. Gotta practice what you preach. Now I'm blocking you. Because I can say what I want on my show. I don't have to practice what I preach, because what you fail to realize is the algorithm gets triggered by the comments. Now you see how you just played yourself? That's the thing. I have benefits as the host that you don't have as a viewer. Damn, I didn't block. Let me see, how many people did I just add to my block list in one stream? And what time is it? It's almost 1 o'clock. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and y'all don't know how to act. I done added 6 new people to the block list, and not even about an hour's time. That's crazy. But for the record, that is the reason why. Because what happens is the algorithm is triggered. You'd be surprised how many times people get flagged based on the comment section. This is why YouTube gives people wrenches and gives people the ability to block people, because it really YouTube wants us to moderate our chats. That's what they're looking at. That's what triggers the algorithm to get these agents watching when y'all saying words that you ain't supposed to say. But you wouldn't know that because you're not a content creator. I can drop one N-bomb. I can drop one S-bomb in a video and I'll be okay. But if you putting it in the chat, they'll start watching. That's why we keep the chats clean. But you didn't know that. You thought I don't want you cussing just because I don't like cuss words. Yep, there's guidelines. And I got to figure out how to there's a way that you can get on YouTube and make like like you can lay out the guidelines that'll get you blocked. Like I've seen other people do it on their channel. I'm gonna figure out how to do it. Yeah, like you can lay out the ground rules from what will get you blocked. But see, a lot of people who are over here, they coming from my other platforms. They already know how I get down. But they'll try you. What they do is they'll try me on this platform because they know I'm more tight knit with y'all over here, because it's a smaller audience. So they think they can come over here and show off. Yeah, but man, solutions. Now, I've said this earlier, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about the solutions. Y'all, it gotta be community. It has got to be community. What's the other way? What's the other solution? Y'all feel free to be in the chat and list some solutions. I'm reading the chat at the moment. It has to be community. We already have land. And I'm saying this because, man, I've experienced these things, this program for years now. It's been like, honestly, I believe it's been my whole life. I believe that this started very young. I always felt things was different. And I know a lot of you all can relate. And it's almost like something, it seems almost impossible to get away from. But community is the only thing that makes sense to me. Having our own land, building our own homes on that land, having people as neighbors, who have been through it, people who are not feds, agents, masons, none of it. It's just people who want to live free and live at peace, and you can live somewhere on a piece of land with those people. That to me is the only thing that makes sense. The only thing that makes sense. And here's the thing, agents just can't come among us in person, not in the flesh. Because bet your bottom dollar, we had our off-grid camping trip, and better believe there were agents and spies among us. But one thing about it, they can't stay among us. Because the Most High give us authority. He give us discernment. He give us wisdom, and we able to really decipher who is who. They can't stay around us. If they down with that organized mobbing, gang stalking, weird perp behavior, they're not gonna make it. Not around all of us who didn't already experienced everything. Because one thing about it, people who've been through this, we can spot them out like it ain't nothing. Everybody in that community would know that's a perp right there. Everybody in that community would know, nah, that person just ain't right. I mean, as long as I've been going through this program, the only thing I could think about is community, the only solution. If y'all got other solutions, I'm reading the chat. If Broken Matrix still happen to be in the building, bro, you can feel free to join the link too. If you win this joint, you probably then stepped out by now. But if you in here, I'll share the link for that brother because he got a channel where he talks about gang stalking. But other than that, you know, I am reading the chat to find out. You know, I'm reading the chat to see if y'all think of any other solutions, tangible things. I think that community is the best solution, but there's tangible ways of dealing with it too. Until we can be on community, until we can get on the community, what are some other tangible things? Somebody said make a flyer may help, and you post it to your page. I don't know what kind of flyer you mean. We will be doing another off-grid camping trip. The next time it's going to be like a workshop to see, you know, what's the next course of action. And I see people talking about Liberia. Liberia is still an option for us. That's just going to take some time to get developed. Yeah, no weirdos in the community. We're not having that. Lucky says, educating our kids. Yeah, I mean, of course. Sean T says, I'm definitely going on the next trip. Finances was good this summer for me. That's what's up, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Yeah, you're right, Twan. We got North Carolina and Liberia. We also got some connections in Ghana, too. Prince says, being discreet, first of all. Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because, like, none of us can really be too discreet. We're all online. You just watch how much intel they can gather just from these wires, bro. Like, you know, we got 358 people in a room right now. When it comes to discretion, I mean, I can honestly say, you know, they got our IPs address. They got everything, bro. Like, it is what it is, man. With the Most High put in place, they can't stop. With He blessed, they can't curse. Somebody says, sticking with only like-minded people until we make it to the community. Absolutely. Agreed. Somebody said, I'm going to make North Carolina, please know that. All right. Well, you know, once we do our next trip, it's definitely going to be up. We got other things in the works for 2024. 2024 is going to be a big year for the chosen. 2024 is going to be a big year for the Most High's people, bro. This year coming up is going to be like, we're going to emerge like the Trojan horse in 2024. 2024, we're going to be, the enemy is going to start giving the keys to the kingdom over and not even realize it. That's what's going to happen 2024. It's going to be a shift that happens where the enemy is going to be working for us and not even realize they're working for us. And they're going to be giving us the keys and not even know they're giving us the keys. That's deep what I'm just telling y'all, bro. They're going to be, the Most High is going to show his power. Like in the scriptures where it says he would do a new thing. He's going to do something so spectacular and crafty. It's going to be majestic. And we're going to be like, dang, the Most High did that for us. And we're going to be like, yo. I'm telling you. All we got to do is stay strong. Yep. All we got to do is stay wise and stay tapped in and stay prayed up. That's all we got to do. But most of all, like 2024 for us is also going to be an ascension phase. So it's going to be more about action. A lot of people going to come out their shell in 2024. A lot of people a lot of people who are shy, a lot of people who are introverts and recluses at best, they're going to start to come out of their shell, particularly on these platforms. A lot of people are going to take things off the internet and start moving in their purpose. It's not going to be, because they're going to put us in a position where we don't have no choice. And we're going to start moving accordingly. We're going to start living life again. Because it's like, you know, when the pandemic hit, everybody haven't recovered from that yet. You know what I'm saying? When that pandemic hit, everybody didn't recover from it. It's like people still are used to living in a bubble. But what's going to happen next time when they try to come with the next one, what's going to happen is they're going to get extroverted, because it's like, nah, they're going to see what's coming this time. Yep, somebody said it, Heidi. A sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. That's what's happening. The wicked, the wealth and riches of the wicked, they're going to be giving it to us and not even know. They're going to be giving it to us and not even know it. It's like the way the Most High is going to do this, they're going to be pretty much be getting finessed. You know, I can't tell you how it's going to happen. I can't tell you how it's going to happen. I just know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Twan. It's still like a sense of social awkwardness because of that traumatic experience that everybody went through. That was a test too. That was a big experiment too. What everybody went through, having to stay in their house and all that. That was mind control. That was like imprisoning everybody. Yeah, when the children of the light escape this persecution, they're gonna be leaving plenteous and goods. Plenteous and goods. But anyway, you know, it is what it is, man. I love each and every one of y'all. Man, shout out to everybody who came over here and watched the broadcast. This is what I do over here on New Breed Universal. These are the late night streams. Yeah, man, this is what I do, man, on here. And either you'll get late night music or you will get a late night stream. No, I'll open up the panel next time I come on. I'll open up the panel next time I come on this channel. But you know, all praises to the Most High. It's time to hand out some wrenches. But man, thank y'all. Till next time, I want y'all to be safe out there. If y'all want to support the work, actually, I will be sharing my Cash App on this channel. I will be sharing my Cash App on this channel because this is my entertainment channel. Y'all know y'all use newbreed.love on the matter of fact, let me see if I could put my Cash App in the description box real quick. Y'all give me one moment. I'm gonna start sharing it on this channel, but not the other channel. Because the only reason I'm sharing it on this channel is because they always wait like 3 or 4 days before they monetize it. They monetize my videos over here. Nah, I said man's going broke. Let me go ahead and do you a favor. Let's get him out of there. They always turn the video yellow and they don't monetize it until like a few days. So, I mean, I don't want to just keep doing this for free. So if you would like to support the work, it is highly appreciated. But anyway, man, y'all have a good one. With that being said, shalom and peace.